So in today's video, we're going to talk about why altcoins are bleeding. It's worth a watch. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the new studio and the new room. It isn't quite finished yet, but I hope if you do subscribe and you watch future videos, you'll probably see the finished article. Now, we need to talk about this. This is like one of the biggest topics at the moment, why altcoins are bleeding. I've been talking about this for about 2-3 years now. I'm going to do a bit of a refresher in terms of why. A lot of people have never experienced the bleed effect. A lot of people have experienced the growth, but actually never understood why they're worth more in satoshis in terms of their overall value and capitalization of their altcoins. Now, step number one we need to worry about is dominance. BTC.D. Put that within your trading view, or even on the likes of coin market cap or whatever. You'll figure it out pretty simple in terms of the directional bias. If it is going up, it means you are losing your satoshi value. Your portfolio is going down in BTC, and again, if that is going down, the dominance side of it is going down, it would increase, the traction versus obviously BTC. So your altcoins are going up. It's an important metric to understand and why it's so important in terms of overall wealth. In terms of how I tackle it, it's simple. I enjoy having more Bitcoin in my portfolio to counteract it, for example, and I also manage my wealth in BTC, not USD. If I've got 10 BTC, great. But if the dominance goes up by 7 or 8%, essentially, you could lose maybe 2 BTC without even realizing it. You're like, oh. But the element to this is the fact of your coins. They will go up in value in USD. You never notice it. And that whole question is, would you rather have 1 BTC holding or an extra $10,000? Because if you think about it, the speed that BTC has grown, you're going to make more money in the long term having a bigger portfolio with BTC value. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump on the chart. I'm going to show you it in real time in terms of how it works so you understand it in very simple format. In terms of the last 3 months, we'll look at that, what altcoins have done and what they've not done, and why you may be feeling the pinch right now. So let's look at this dominance chart on the screens. It makes clear sense to me overall anyways. We have been going up since mid-September. That mid-September point is interesting for obvious reasons. Everything has melted since in terms of your satoshis. Yeah, everything's been going up in USD because BTC has been going on a run, as you can see here. We've been running up quite nicely. Structure is looking brilliant. Had a nice impulse wave. We've had a pullback. Now we're off again. I think all-time high retest is coming. So this is why dominance is key. If you're investing at a certain point, the certain point has to be when essentially you're going to be growing satoshis. I think that anyways. If you're putting money in altcoins, you should be buying when the dominance is going down. Why? Because you want to be beating Bitcoin, you want to be growing satoshis. If you can then put profit into Bitcoin and hold that wealth, well, if Bitcoin keeps going up over time, well, you're going to be worth more, realistically, as a value proposition. So when we start looking at the dominance chart since that mid-September time, we can look through, well, even the start of September, we could argue. We could look at a lot of coins. So let's look at Cardano, for example. Since that point, we've been melting. And you got to think, it doesn't look like much, it's just a correction. Well, yeah, it is. But at the same time, 41% or 42% is down. If you bought at that top point, and I shit you not, you'd be down basically 1 BTC, you'd lose 0.42 BTC. That's a lot of money. And if you put that into the price metrics, in terms of where that actually is, so if we're looking at that, now let's look at this as value appreciation, right? Yeah, you may have grown some USD, but not much, if anything, because if you go on here, oops, I'm on the wrong one, go to BTC, as I said before, 0.42, you could be down. If that doesn't perform in USD and it just melts on its own, that's a problem. Obviously, the counteracting factor to this is BTC has grown since that point. So if we look again at that chart there, so what was the week there? 30th of August. If we look at BTC from the 30th of August here, if we can find it, it will be roughly here. So BTC has grown 37% within that period. There's a big gap there. There's a 5% gap, essentially what you've lost, right? So you could have actually made more money by just buying, BTC, realistically, because you would have kept it and made more money. That makes sense? I hope it does. So when we start looking at other things as well, and I mentioned this a few times, on every asset, this is a thing. I've mentioned this before. People don't quite get it. If I just refresh this, because I think this is old. There we go. So when you put this into Google, and I mentioned this on a video not too long ago, just go and search Google, right? Whatever things these are, there you go. It'll give you the price. So that is the actual physical price of Polkadot right now. Bitcoin is king. There's a reason for it, right? Hold Bitcoin. It will help you massively with your portfolio, because when you think about it, if you are buying when the dominance is going against you, you're losing wealth. Simple as that. Doesn't matter about USD. You take profit in USD. Remember this, when BTC is high or when your altcoins are high in USD. So if you're not thinking too much about dominance, that's fine. Just take profit as and when in USD. But if you're thinking long term, would you rather have one BTC now or look to grow 5 in time with your altcoins and put it into BTC? Because if BTC keeps going up, you're going to get even wealthier. And then when the dominance rises again, even higher than what it could be potentially now, you could utilize that BTC, put it into altcoins when they're at the floor and make money. Like, look at these, for example. Look how low Polkadot was there. It's ridiculous when you think about it. Look at where it is now. It's pulled right the way back down again. All of these altcoins look similar. In the last 5 weeks, they're all coming down. This is why everyone is feeling a bit of pain right now. And this understanding of it will help you overall. So the caveat and the rules are simple. You need to buy BTC as a little bit of a hedge against everything. So for me, I'm about 25-30% in BTC. I always pretty much am. And when it is basically really hectic dominant season, i.e. we're in a proper uptrend, a lot of it will be in BTC or in stable currencies as well, so I can then rebuy back low, certainly if BTC is dropping as well. There's different caveats to it. You've got to look at different things, right? But if you are looking at this and you're being very, very naive, and I've seen this a lot of times, and you're just buying altcoins whenever, you won't, sometimes you don't even realize your BTC value is dropped and you're just looking at USD. Whereas sometimes it's actually better off, not investing at all, or even just invest in Bitcoin because you'll make more money, weirdly, right? It's all about how many BTC you can keep. It really is, honestly. If you toggle your portfolio app and look to see how much BTC your portfolio is now worth, it would have went up and down, up and down, up and down. It really will. But if you can grow from 1 BTC, for example, up to like 10, 20, you're going to have a lot of money in your portfolio at some point. And it doesn't matter, because a lot of people are always fixated on, well, Ethereum could go to $25,000. It could. But what if Bitcoin goes to 250,000 at the same time? What's going to win? Probably BTC if you're holding it, because essentially it's going to drain all those altcoin bags that you've got, especially if that dominance keeps going up. If we go up to a 60% dominance, a lot of altcoins will be on the floor again in terms of satoshis. USD, it doesn't matter. But because the value of price of Bitcoin is high, that's where it gets interesting. So it confuses people really high. So what you need to do, simple refresher, just before I go, I know I've already mentioned it before. When this is going up, trending up, by the way, not just at a high point or a low point, trending up, be careful, because it will make you lose some money. So if you've got BTC, you might be like this right now, rubbing your hands together thinking, right, I could buy so much altcoins with my BTC that's growing for me and making these prices, for example, go down to nice support levels. I mean, look at that as a correction for Polkadot, for example, here. It's down 30% in BTC. You get more, 32% more than what you would have got a couple of weeks ago. That is a huge element. And guess what? If it continues to rise, it does do this, and we go, boom, up to here. Imagine if you had that working for you and you bought at this point, and if we do turn around, you can, 1 BTC bought there. Yes, it's a lot. I know I'm just using it as an example here, but you can get an extra 1 and a bit BTC on top of your portfolio. That is a huge gain. So I hope this video has helped you. It's nice to have my face back. A little bit of teething problems with the camera. It's a bit wishy-washy. We'll get better with it. We will. But if you're not yet done so, make sure you check out my Patreon. There's a lot of things in there, especially about this. I'm looking to create a study, and I'm going to go through a lot of things, put a lot of data on a lot of spreadsheets and figure stuff out so I can show you this in real time, how it physically works, because it absolutely messes with your brain knowing that sometimes it's better off just waiting or buying in BTC and then utilizing that BTC, then buy low, than just buying and holding an altcoin, because sometimes it's not nice just bleeding out. Personally, my position right now, just to give you a pointer, I'm currently waiting because I've got enough BTC to keep me going. And at the same time, the altcoins that I've got, staking rewards and stuff like that, are very, very undervalued anyways. So I'm happy. But if you were 3-4 weeks ago buying the tops of these coins, even Dogecoin, for example, buying these at like these stupid levels in June, you know, you'll be feeling it right now. You really will be. And as an example here, look at this. From the top to bottom, that is down 70% in BTC. If you had one BTC put in there, you've only got 0.3 left. Ooh, rough, isn't it?